Dude, you know what I think is so funny is that LeBron James, throughout all of his years in Cleveland, was just like the biggest Cowboys fan, and he couldn't be a Browns fan because he loved the Cowboys and he loved the Yankees. But I mean, front runner city. But what's amazing to me is that the Cowboys and the Rams, obviously he's in LA now, but just played last week and the Cowboys lose. His team that he's went to bat for, saying that he's this diehard fan, loses. And in that same game, he's in the locker room of the opposing team just because now he plays in LA. Like, dude, phony, man.
Oh, yeah. Phony baloney
What's up with
for
this
sure.
phony baloney?
Dude, straight up phones, ballones. And yeah, the whole like Yankees Indians thing is just like, dude, you're such a joke. And even like back when he was a kid, he was like rocking Yankees hats. He was like Fred Durst when he was in high school. So like he's always put that out there. But I think the most offensive thing is that he's bringing that person there. And there's
that
like
that was nuts.
I mean, a couple things. It's not because a purse doesn't belong in the locker room. It's not because I don't like purses or it's like it's too like feminine to wear it. But you don't have anything to carry in a purse, man. Like you don't have any reason to carry around money. I guarantee he hasn't paid for something in probably 16, 17 years. You always have your cell phone in your hand. Every picture I've ever seen of you, you've had your cell phone in your hand, like no matter what. So you don't have keys because you don't drive anywhere. I guarantee your apartment or your fucking house probably just opens when your eye gets like within a certain radius or a certain distance from the door. So what do you have in that purse, man? Like there's fashion and then there's just carrying around luggage for no fucking reason, bro.
Yeah, dude, what is in that purse?
I mean,
you know what? You know what's crazy is that this isn't the first LeBron purse sighting either. Like I can recall game 1 last year in the finals where he came with that short suit with the shorts for the suit, and he was rocking that $40,000 alligator skin purse, that big ass purse. Like, dude, what is he keeping in those purses, man?
Honestly, the only thing that would make sense is if there was another person there and he was carrying it with the purse. Because then at least you got 2 fucking purses and they each have a purpose now. But
Purse in a purse?
Dude, what would he have in there? Why is he carrying it? Like, think of all the fashion statements you could make. Dude, wear a fucking scarf around your neck, bro. Wear a fucking, what are those, bolo tie, man? Wear cowboy boots with spurs. Like, what? You could be doing anything if you want to make a little fashion statement. Wear a watch. You know why that's relevant? Because, I mean, even LeBron, I guess, needs to tell times, right?
No, maybe? Somebody just tells him what time.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need a watch.
Okay, I think that maybe...
Get a tattoo of a purse, dude.
Maybe he's just like carrying around gold bars in that purse. That's like a real like power move. Just like have gold bars on you, like in case you need to just like throw one on a table somewhere.
It's not a power move, but it is a possibility.
Oh, yeah, that's a power move.
Dude, it's not a power move because no one would ever know. He'd never take him out. He's never going to floss gold.
Just in case. What if he's like, all right, dude, I mean, like, you don't carry gold around in your purse, just bars of gold. And then they're like, neither do you, idiot. And then he just plops a big ass dong of gold on the table.
Yeah, he would be like very much forcing that into conversation, but that would be very true one time.
Okay, that's like what LeBron does though.
They were
he would be like setting that up, and then he would probably be like talking about gold like all day, like hoping that like someone's just like, oh dude, you've never seen gold before, like you've never seen a gold bar before, and then he just has it on him.
Imagine if you told like a 8-year-old LeBron James, like, hey man, guess what? And he's like, what? Like, you're going to be the most rich and famous athlete in the world and potentially of all time one day. And he's going to be like, really? Like, what? Really? I'm going to be like that? Like Michael Jordan, maybe even better. Who knows? And then he's going to go, cool. What am I going to get? You're going to get a purse and you're going to carry that around. Like, I'm just going to carry a purse around like my mom does? Yeah, but nothing in it, bro. There's going to be nothing in it. Oh, that's cool. I'm not going to get like a motorcycle or like a helicopter or anything. No.
Dude, I think I solved it.
What?
I think I solved it. I think I know what he has in that purse.
Okay.
Dude, I think he carries like some hairline like cover up makeup in that purse.
Has to be applied like every hour.
Yes, like he just sneaks into the bathroom and just like dab, like tries to like thicken out that hairline maybe.
Oh, that is.
And no one's gonna look in his purse, so like that's a good place to keep it.
And you would never trust like even your closest security guards, like you can't trust them with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That might be it.
That could be it, man. Because that shit is really shady.
Yeah, I mean, remember when he came out with that movie Trainwreck and he just had the thickest head of hair after basically being bald the year before? Did you ever see Trainwreck with Amy Schumer?
Oh, are you asking me if I've seen Trainwreck? No, I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, it's pretty funny. LeBron is actually very funny in that
Is
movie.
John Cena in it? That's the only reason I think I
He
wanted to
is.
see it.
He is. Yes, he is.
Shout out to Big John.
Yeah, John Cena,
Big
LeBron. I mean,
Match
that's
John.
a killer cast. So Bill Hader. I mean, that's just a killer
Yeah.
cast. But yeah, LeBron has like basically the thickest hair of all time, and it's not like he's wearing a wig or anything. It's just that it's straight up makeup across that hairline.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe they CGI'd it.
Or they could have. That is possible because it's definitely fake somehow, but it could just be makeup. I think they, don't people like use like some spray paint or some shit on that stuff?
Carlos Boozer, but like I don't think like real people do.
Well, obviously LeBron does because he carries a purse around and there's obviously nothing else in there.
Dude, it might just be full of coffee grounds, and he just takes those out and just kind of rubs it into his. Like it kind of looks like that whenever
Dude,
it's like
he can
fresh.
like
It looks like coffee.
he can
grounds.
like afford the best of the best like hairline stuff though.
Dude, yeah, it's like Seattle
It's not
Slough
just
coffee.
It's not just coffee ground.
Oh, I thought you meant the best coffee. Like
That
he
he's
had like
just,
the best coffee.
like rubbing into his head.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you want to get the show started?
Let's do it. Welcome, everybody. This is the Asshole Podcasserole. I'm your boy, RPP, Rowdy Potty Piper, here with my co-host, Jesse the Potty Ventura. And we got episode 9. We got some goodies. We got some goodies on the docket. Hope you guys are ready to listen.
Yeah. So let's get right into it, man. The kitchen's era's here. We're all bakers and we all live in a kitchen now. And we're putting together like a ridiculous coaching staff. A coaching staff that I would say if you could go back to when we hired Hugh Jackson, there is no allure of the Browns. A lot of the guys are going like we would have considered some of these guys for our head coaching positions that are filling out the coordinator jobs. Like they would have for sure gotten head coaching jobs when we were in the state we were in 2 years ago. And now these guys are all assistant coaches under Big Fred.
I mean, Monken's was getting head coaching interviews this year.
Yeah.
He's surely, based on what I think is going to happen next year, he's surely going to get more interviews next year. Steve Wilkes is coming off of a failed head coaching stint, but obviously was good enough to get a head coaching job just 1 year ago. And then what's most intriguing to me, I mean, obviously those are some big line, top of the name OCs and DCs. However, these kind of fill-in guys that people aren't really talking about are also like they just bring such an intriguing edge to each of the positions.
Dude, my point is that's the kind of guys I'm talking about. Like if you told me 2 years ago when we were getting, or whenever 3 years ago, Hugh, or even if we got rid of Hugh and we were moving on after 1-15, if you told me that the Alabama defensive coordinator was interviewing for a head coach job, I would be like, all right, like let me like see what's going on with the scheme. Let's get him in the room.
Tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
hell
let's do it. Let's hire that dude. That's the fucking guy who's gonna coach the defensive line now. Like,
I mean, if you look at like the last like feels like 25 Browns coaches since they've been back in 19 years, it feels like we would aspire for these great things, and then we would just get like some schmuck that was like, oh man, like all right, we just get like the leftovers. That would be like if at that point you tell me, oh, you're getting the defensive line or defensive coordinator for Alabama, that's like, oh dude, that's like a hot candidate for a Browns head coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, dude, I love that Mike Prefer, the special teams coordinator, because underestimated last year how unbelievably atrocious Amos Jones was as the current special teams coordinator for the Browns. And Mike Prefer has been in Minnesota coaching special teams for like 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, and he always has good ranked special teams. Like that there. I know he's from Cleveland, but that right there is like probably the biggest upgrade that I see.
Dude, I think the most important thing about that too is when you talk about that tenure, That is so much more important to me if you're a special teams coordinator, because that's such an easy guy to chop off as a scapegoat. It happens all the time. Kicker misses 2 kicks, guy fumbles a kick return, you lose a game, you're out of the play. Like, it's like that's the easiest branch of that tree to just say, oh yeah, we'll fix it, and then you just toast that guy. Like, it's so easy to get rid of one of those guys, and especially when
Yeah.
you go through different regimes to not
He has
bring
a
in a new
scapegoat.
guy.
Yeah, that's
It's
the thing with
crazy.
Minnesota. That's like the main point with Minnesota is that it's not like they've had one head coach for the last 15 years that has just kept his guy on.
Mhm,
Minnesota has had a lot of turnover at coach, and Prefer always gets kept on. You know what I mean?
mhm.
It's just like Freddie Kitchens with Arizona. Just
Yeah.
plenty of turnover, but the cream the cream rises to the top. It stays. They keep certain people around for a very specific reason. Same thing with Campen from the Packers. He's
Right.
been around. I mean, so that's a little less impressive to me as Prefer because the Packers
McCarthy's
haven't
been there
had the type
forever.
of turnover exactly, but still, guy that's been there a million years,
Right.
just regarded as an amazing offensive line coach. And I mean, it's just such an exciting time to be a Browns fan right now, just
Yeah.
with every aspect, man.
When you think about um like, it's going to be, I feel like we're going to have the same situation that Alabama's had in the last couple of years, because like you said, Monken's going to get job offers next year. Um, Depending on how the defense looks, like, somebody is going to give Wilkes a second chance. I mean,
Yeah, but what I like about that specifically
he's
is
going to
that
have to go through that.
he's
Yeah.
going to have a couple years where he's on this staff being good for him to get another look just because he's just coming off of a failed one.
Right.
So I
My
think that's a positive because he should be with Freddie for a few years, I would
My,
think.
my point is, I think there's probably at least 3, potentially 4 or 5 people on the staff who could eventually be an NFL head coach. And you usually only see that from like a guy who you're looking back as, oh, that head coaching tree is really special. Like, Freddie Kitchens hasn't done anything to make any of these guys' jobs any better. He just has these guys that you can all say like have fucking huge ceilings. I mean, it almost seems like they want to be there as much as I don't know if that's it, but with
Dude,
some of the options.
I want to talk about that situation with the Alabama defensive coordinator for a second because there's some rumors floating around with him leaving, and there's a couple other coaches with some turnover on that Alabama staff that there might be some sanctions coming down on Alabama
Wow.
that people are starting to jump ship, and especially like people that had to do with the recruiting that could maybe be getting in
Yeah,
some
he was their
trouble, like
number
this
one
dude.
recruiter to get Tua.
Exactly. Do you
Yeah.
think there's any anything to stand on there, or do you think that's just some people trying to connect some dots? Because
They're
they're cheating. So cheating is
everybody's cheating.
100%. Yeah, I
Everybody's
mean,
cheating.
and especially Alabama, who gets the best recruits every single year, guaranteed. So they're paying them, but it's just a matter of like, would
Is it
they be
above and
willing?
beyond?
Would they be willing to bring the hammer down on basically college football's golden program?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Um, Man, it just makes me think of like Michael Jordan leaving the Bulls. Like, I could see Nick Saban having to like step away from Alabama though, if that was the case, because
You
there's
think maybe
no
you think he takes a job on kitchen staff as like a special defensive backs coach?
probably like chef, or like I mean, they just have. There's no room at this point. I mean, he can be in the building, but we're not giving
We'll
him a
just give him
coaching
a
spot.
title. We'll just give him a title. He can
Yeah.
draw the lines on
Well,
the field.
his nameplate in his office won't even have a last name. It'll just say Nick on it. Coach Nick. That's how important he'll be to our staff.
Dude, I read a story when I was reading some stuff on Steve Wilkes that in Arizona, as the head coach, he would go in early and like do shit that no other head coach on the planet is doing. Like doing field like stuff to like keep the field in shape and like lining the field and stuff. And they asked him like why he did that stuff. And he just like, oh, I just love football so much that I just want to be like on the field, around the stadium at all times. Like I'll do anything. And he was the head coach.
That's insane.
It's the craziest thing ever.
That's like what Freddie Kitchens was talking about a lot in his news conference. Like, in his maybe not the news conference, but at least in the interviews following it, he kept alluding to the fact that like it's everybody. It's a whole organizational thing, from the people working and, stitching the jerseys to the people getting the field ready. Everybody's got to be moving in one direction. Like, I could see Freddie Kitchen like painting some lines down on the field maybe one day.
He could do some laundry.
Or like if there's like a real bad snowstorm before a playoff game, like I could see him like out there with a snowblower, like
Oh, yeah.
trying to like speed the process up.
Yeah. Freddie Kitchens would get his hands dirty.
For sure. So I mean, and outside of the staff, I mean, I love the Kitchens hire in general. Like the fact.
Who else besides Monken do you think in like the next couple of years could be getting head coaching looks on this staff?
Okay, so
you mentioned that earlier, and I'm not sure who you're referencing.
Okay, so Monken for sure, obviously. Wilkes, I think, give him 2 years because, I mean, I feel like he's not going to go through the normal cycle because he only had a 1-year shot. Like as much as you would expect, like even
it was like an extreme failure, though.
I mean, was it? He had a rookie quarterback.
I know, but they were so bad, and like he's renowned for his defense, and they were giving up like 160 rushing yards and like 20 rushing touchdowns. Like they gave up like for a defensive-minded head coach to not be able to get a defense to be able to stop the run is definitely a red flag.
Yeah, I mean their defense went down big time when he took over. That was the only.
The thing is that they did have to switch from a 3-4. He tried to switch them from a 3-4 to a 4-3. So you really need more than a year to be able to do that. That's like the one, saving grace on that. But I really don't think that people are going to be, unless he just like turns this Browns defense into like a top 3 defense for the next 2 or 3 years. I really don't think he's going to be getting a ton more looks.
Yeah, but you know what the NFL likes,
especially because the NFL is going to an offensive. They're just going to an offensive.
That's
system.
true. That's true. But they also, the Rooney Rule still exists, and the NFL is much more likely to give someone an interview who's had a head coaching job, even if it was a 1-year train wreck disaster, than they are a random coordinator or whatever.
He could definitely get some interviews. I'm more so talking about if he'll get hired away from the Brown staff.
Yeah, I mean, give him a couple years for sure, but it's not happening next year. Like
who else are you thinking
potentially could?
Oh, Monken's gone next year.
Tosh Point Lupo.
Yeah, that's who I thought you might have had in mind.
Yeah,
I could see that because he's young too.
Come from that tree, he's young. And what about this guy, this little kickstart fireburner, Chris Jones, we just hired from the CFL.
Linebackers coach?
Been in the CFL for 17 years coaching. Yeah, dude. He's going to be the next. He's going to bring some crazy Canadian philosophy. We're going to be eating pancakes and maple syrup in the Super Bowl in like a year. It's going to be awesome. So I think those 3, there's probably a couple wild cards on there depending, what they're like as an actual coach and not what they're coaching right now for the Browns. You could, just like Freddie Kitchens proves, he coached quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, offense coordinator, head coach. You can come from anywhere to do it. But yeah, I could see at least those 3. I don't know. Anybody else jump out at you?
Nah, I think that those were the only 3 that I was thinking. That's why I didn't know if you had more in mind or not.
It's a good staff though, man. Oh,
it's an excellent staff. I'm very impressed because I know when Freddie Kitchens was first hired, one of the things that me and you had talked about was, what is his ability going to be to be able to build a staff? But I do think that John Dorsey was a big part of that as well, to try to get some of these people to, on the phone at least. And then I do think once you put him in a room with Freddie, he's very likable and he doesn't have a big ego. And people know, obviously, they think the Browns are going to be good and they think they're on a good trajectory. So people just started jumping on the bandwagon, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a concern of mine, but it obviously played out really well.
Yeah, and to beat a dead horse, he's like so similar to Baker Mayfield in that way. I think the only difference is he's not outwardly confident, but he is as confident in his ability as Baker is in his ability. Like,
he just doesn't have an ego, and Baker definitely does.
Exactly. But yeah, it's just a perfect fit, man. So going on to the next subject, this is kind of a perfect thing because how much would you love to run into Freddie Kitchens in the offseason and have a beer with him and just hang out for a second? Like that, because I feel like that's going to be an opportunity for some people in the Cleveland area. Like you might see him out enjoying a dinner with his wife and, he might have a beer with you and tell you.
What do you think Freddie Kitchens drinks?
Old style, probably those fucking just crap beers, probably the little mini bottles, You
think he's just drinking like
maybe Schlitz?
What about like moonshine out the
dude.
Out the jar.
No, he's got to stay focused, man. He just has a couple little
He might
beers.
drink the moonshine directly out of the still in the woods.
He might. Oh God, just camps out there.
Yeah. He just walks around like the backwoods of Alabama, just like looking for some hidden stills. And then as it's like filtering, he's just like taking swings.
There's just random stills of whiskey out in the Alabama.
Yeah, they're not
field.
his. Oh, they're everywhere, dude.
Yeah. So no, that's what I wanted to talk about though. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what NFL quarterbacks, past or present, would you think would be pretty cool to have a beer with? You got any in mind?
Yeah, so I feel like I wouldn't. I mean, because okay, so first of all, let's just get this out of the way. If every quarterback is on the table, there's nothing that I would.
Yeah,
no one else I would choose other than Baker Mayfield.
Of course.
So we're taking Baker Mayfield off the table because that just makes the conversation no longer interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of Baker Mayfield, I'm not sure that there's any quarterbacks that I think are like cool enough that like I would be like, oh, I would love to like hang out with that dude. Like maybe I'm missing somebody, but I don't really. Nobody comes to mind like original, like right off the bat. What does come to mind though is what type of a scenario with an NFL quarterback would I like to be in, just from an entertainment standpoint, more so than just like, all right, I think this person's cool, but like, okay, picture this. You get a chance to have a drink with Phillip Rivers, maybe in his own house, surrounded by his crazy kids. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Okay, dude, think about this. First
He
of all,
9, right?
Yeah, and first of all, Phillip Rivers is a weird dude. He's weird. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you look at him for 5 minutes on TV and you're like, oh, that dude's super weird.
Yeah.
Then compact it with the fact that he's got 9 kids running around and you're putting alcohol down his gullet. That the fact that, you know, maybe he gets a little angry, the kids get a little annoying. I would love to be a part of that scene. You know what I mean? That's just like pure entertainment to me.
Okay, can I tell you how that would go down? And this is like, I'm glad that I got you before this. You ran into this scenario in real life, because it would be bad for you. Because he's the greatest dad of all time. So if you give that dude alcohol and he does get mad, he's gonna look at all 9 of those little nuggets that he loves, and he's gonna beat the shit out of you to take that aggression out. Wow, he's never gonna hit the kids.
Okay, I'm not saying they're gonna hit the kids, but like
they're gonna
maybe
be like
just
crawling all over him and like putting their fingers in their ears and like, you know, just like shitting on the floor, and he's gonna look at you and be like, oh man.
First of all,
he's
know
so
nothing
angry.
about Phillip Rivers.
Oh, I know he has the worst temper ever.
Okay, yeah, he gets so mad at his offensive lineman. You mean to tell me at home when he's got 9 annoying kids just running amok in his mansion, just screaming, running, knocking shit over, that dude doesn't blow his temper and get mad and start yelling at those kids?
Maybe, but I think he sleeps on that bus, dude. You see that bus that he had made?
Yeah, I
think he probably parks it in the driveway and sleeps in that if he gets too pissed.
Just try to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my scenario is me and Phillip Rivers in the middle of his house in his kitchen,
nannies
on the bar, no one to take care of the kids. I want the kids running amok. I'm gonna be bringing pockets of candy over. I'm gonna be handing candy out to the kids, get them all sugared up, ready to go, and I'm just gonna enjoy the movie. I'm gonna get my popcorn.
That would be very hilarious, though.
Yeah, that's like number 1 for me.
I would be more in it to see if he would beat you up, or to see if you got under his skin a little bit,
or if I would beat him up.
Yeah, but like, what if you, like, he introduced you to all of his kids and he's like, oh, here's Jessica and Billy and Sam and Tina and Tyler and
here's Phillip 2, here's Phillip 3, here's Phillip 4.
Yeah, and he does that, and then you call one of the kids the wrong name, and like he's just like laughing, having a good time, Phillip. And then he just looks up at you with the fucking devil in his eye, and then you're dead.
All right, what do you think Phillip Rivers would want to drink?
He's
kind of a cowboy.
Yeah, I think he would be like a regular Budweiser guy, like a Bud Heavy dude, I feel like.
That does make sense.
Oh man, he kind of makes me mad the more I think about him. Like, I hate that he tucks his shirt in on the sideline. I hate that he wears cowboy belts.
Oh, dude. No, you love him. All right, who would you want to have a beer with? Or a cocktail. Doesn't have to be beer.
My first one is 2. They come as a package.
Okay.
Peyton and Eli.
Okay.
Because I gotta throw alcohol into that situation and just see like how those dudes are together.
You could get them to like go at each other a little bit.
Yeah, because we'd be like doing some competitive stuff. We would like play some darts and like like maybe go to like a trivia night and like just have like a little night out in the town. And
dude, if you were playing darts with the Manning brothers, you would just be getting lit up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, I know. I'd be more of a cheerleader. But for drinks, Peyton and I would have a little bit between the two of us. We talked when I was in the bathroom. Him and I, we get like we get Boilermakers, and we just pound our dope beers, and we order Eli a Cosmo. So Eli's just drinking Cosmos all night, and we're just pounding beers, Peyton and I. And like every time like he's not looking, we get him another Cosmo, so we can never like get the waitress. And it's like this funny little thing that Peyton and I do, and we like bump each other's knucks.
Peyton.
Yeah, we bump knucks about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to have a beer with those guys or a couple drinks. I think they'd be
That's
really
not bad.
funny.
What's the set the scene for me? Where are you at with those two?
Dude, just the Mannings. We'd probably go to like Applebee's or fucking Chili's or something, bro. Like we're sitting at a table at
their
Chili's.
favorite restaurant. You probably at Papa John's. You probably had a Papa John's franchise.
I don't think you can eat in, or that would definitely. Maybe we get one and sit in the parking lot, but then we
BYOB to the nearest Papa John's franchise.
Yeah. But I would love to get kind of those two just like picking on each other a little bit. I think it'd be so fun.
That is interesting. So I got another one. So another person that I think I'm trying to set a scene where it would just make it as entertaining for me as possible is Andrew Luck in a crowded bar with a martini.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Andrew Luck is probably the person that I would consider like the most awkward amongst NFL quarterbacks, because I mean, most quarterbacks are just exude confidence because they've been the best at their craft. They've been popular their whole lives. But like Andrew Luck, like missed the boat big time on that. Like, I don't know like what happened, but like he missed the boat. Like he just was not in the in crowd. And to get him in like, especially like a real like popular crowded bar surrounded by people that he has to interact with at all times, like sipping on something super dumb would be gold, I think, too.
Yeah. Would you want it to be an indie where he's liked, or just like a big city where he's known?
So I do want people coming up to him and having conversations.
Probably
so
indie,
like
then.
Indie would be good for that, because I want people, even though I mean he's probably well known, I mean people are gonna recognize him everywhere.
It would be crazy in indie though.
But like, yeah, I want him talking to everyone because I want to see how he interacts socially with people, because I think it would just be like a movie, because it would be so awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would be. He's so weird. All right, I got another one, and I gotta go and tell you that I love Tom Brady. Okay, I don't want anything bad to ever happen to him. I really like him. I don't even care if he wins another Super Bowl, but I would want to have like at least a case of beers with Drew Bledsoe and just talk so much shit about Tom Brady. And just like fucking trash him and just like talk about like what could have been and like how many more Super Bowls Drew would have won if he could have kept that job. Now ready to go to Dallas.
That would be interesting.
Drew got punked twice, dude. He got punked by Tom Brady, and then he got punked by Tony Romo. Punk to punk.
Yeah,
he got
he's
CM.
a punk. He's a punk.
Man. But I would love to have beers with Drew and just fucking trash Brady.
Talking shit on Brady and Belichick would be nice. Nice.
That would be super fun.
Dude, what about Big Ben in a basement with some poison?
You just want to drink poison, or
I'm not gonna drink it, but I can make him drink it though.
Yeah, that would be a good one. We're probably gonna get in trouble now. Good job. Good job.
It's not the first time we've talked about killing Big Ben, so I feel
I never talked about killing him. I talked about
torturing,
peeling his fingers back and shit like that.
Torturing.
Yeah. What about you know who I would like to have beers with, and I hate this person because I just want to have beers. Actually, you know what I would have? You've known me a long time. There's only one time where I was like super aggressive, angry, drunk. Do you remember what I drank? When I punched the window?
I do remember the punching of the window, but I don't remember what you were drinking. Maybe like Jack Daniels?
Mm-hmm. The dumbest thing I've ever done was doing that. And it was Jack Daniels. I like never drink it anymore. I would have like probably 2 or 3 bottles of Jack Daniels in a closed room, no windows, me and Troy Aikman. And I would drink enough until I thought I could beat him up. And then I'd start fighting him. That would be it. I want him.
And you just get squashed like a bug.
Dude, old man Troy.
Even old man Troy could take you.
I'll tell you this. I hate listening to him so much on Sunday. Him, Collinsworth. It is the worst. I've honestly been thinking of ways to like circumvent the NFL audio and figure out how we just get another feed of somebody else talking. I don't even care who it is at this point. Like, even if I'm listening to like some, local guys in Tampa Bay do a game, like I don't give a shit. I cannot listen to
just watch it on mute.
Because I need something. I need something to keep me engaged, or I'll just start thinking about peeling Ben's fingers back again.
Dude, real quick before we go into another segment, when you punched through that window, do you remember what was like on the other side of that window?
Another window.
Well, it was like your kitchen, right? Wasn't it your
Yeah,
kitchen window?
yeah.
Yeah, and do you remember that kitchen just had like trash bags just like stacked
Oh yeah.
like a pyramid of trash. It was like the wall in was that Guts or whatever the aggro
The
crag wall, you know what I mean? That was like it was like an aggro crag of like trash just like going up to that window, and then you punch through it and just all the glass just shattered down into the trash. It was like a perfect scenario. It was cleaned itself.
It had to leave. Yeah, I was gonna say we couldn't leave any evidence of it happening.
It cleaned itself, you know what I mean? It was the glass was already in the trash. So
by the way, if you ever try to make a joke again and botch something from Nickelodeon Guts, we're gonna have a real problem.
Is that Guts? Was it Guts with the aggro crag, or was that a different show?
No, it was the aggro crag. It was
Guts.
Guts, and they held it up if they got a piece of it to take home. Dude, come on, man.
I guess in my head I was like mixing up Guts and What Would You Do?
Oh, well, yeah, I think you said Guts, but
I did say Guts though.
Yeah, man. Well, what else you got?
All right, so
no. This would lead into what I want to talk about next, at least. So, I would want to have a beer with Nick Foles, and the only reason I didn't say that is because I know you're going to make fun of how much I love Nick Foles, but we have to talk about Nick Foles, and we have to talk about Carson Wentz. So
yeah, I know. Why are you so obsessed with Nick Foles, though?
Because I've been to the place where the Browns have been. And I think if anyone had ever pulled us out of that, under any scenario, circumstance, and then the alternative isn't a perfectly healthy, guaranteed home run quarterback, I'm going with the guy who just got us to a Super Bowl and who has the Philly magic in him. And I'm spending a lot less. And I'm saying, you know what? In 2-3 years, we'll draft our own Carson Wentz again. But right now, this dude won a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz can't stay on the fucking football field.
Dude, Carson Wentz's don't grow on trees, bro.
Yeah, because trees fucking live forever and they don't break easily like Carson Wentz does. Carson Wentz's grow on fucking anthills.
All right, so let's set the scene here. Okay, so you're the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles going into this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Foles is going to be a free agent. You will lose him. You cannot spend $20 million to franchise tag him or whatever. So you, as the GM, knowing the reaction that you would get, are going to trade Carson Wentz and anoint Nick Foles as your starter?
Hold on.
Accurate?
Before we go to that, the answer to that question, what is the market for Carson Wentz? Because I've seen crazy shit thrown around. Crazy,
what do you think
shit.
it is?
I mean, I think it's at least 2 first-round picks.
I would say that's probably.
I saw somebody said 2 first and Jalen Ramsey.
No, that's too much. I would say 2 first-round picks probably is the market for him, though.
The greatest trade in the history of sports, and it would be as good as the story in Babe Ruth and the Red Sox and Yankees. And I might even get like a NFC East subscription pass to watch everything that happens, is if they traded to the Giants for 2 number 1s and OBJ. That would be my favorite thing that could happen.
That's too much,
to the
dude.
NFL.
You're not going to get that, I don't think.
Dude, I think you would get 2 1s for sure.
Yeah,
and then you could probably get like an ancillary piece. Yeah,
you can't just be throwing in Jalen Ramsey or OBJ.
Okay, so I made up the OBJ one because I think it'd be a good storyline. But the Jalen Ramsey one is out there. People are throwing that around.
Yeah, but that's like people that don't know anything are throwing that around.
Well, I guess. But what do you think the market is?
I think 2 first-rounders is probably the market for him, given the injury history. If he would have a clean bill of health, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
But it would probably be 3 first-rounders, similar to Khalil Mack from last year. But 2 first-rounders is probably market price for Carson Wentz, a young quarterback who basically was having an MVP season before he got hurt last year.
Well, yeah, not this year though.
I mean, he was still pretty good. I mean, he's coming off of an ACL, and he came back early, and he still was pretty good. He was putting up good stats. They just weren't winning all those games when he was in, because you know my thoughts on that. I think there's something in the water in Philly. They love Nick Foles, and they just play harder for Nick Foles.
So why not hang on for 2 or 3 years?
Because once you get rid of Nick Foles, it's going to put the idea in everyone's mind, hey, forget what you thought you knew about Nick Foles. We have our guy Carson Wentz, and now it's going to be you either play hard or you're on another team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
dude, Nick Foles to me is all smoke and mirrors. There's like not like something that you can like hang your hat on with Nick Foles that he's like actually a good quarterback.
one, that's so insulting to
It's all
say.
smoke and mirrors.
So insulting to say, because let alone all the other shit you said, you could easily hang your hat on his giant cock. That is a guaranteed 100% fact. You could put your hat on his giant dick, and that would be fine. So you can hang your hat on at least one thing. But he's also won a Super Bowl MVP, and realistically, it was your best receiver's fucking error that he didn't put you in a chance to go to another NFC Championship game. Because that throw was fucking perfect, and they would have been inside the 15.
Yeah, but why couldn't he have done stuff earlier in the game? Why do you got to wait till the end?
I mean, that's all that bullshit. And yeah, I mean,
like you can't blame it on one play. I never understand when people try to do that. But
oh no. But if that play doesn't end in the 1% worst case scenario, the ball getting intercepted, then it's a whole different story. The ball could fall
and he also
incomplete.
probably throws a pick on his next play because he's terrible.
Why does he always throw a pick in your life?
It's hard for you to understand that he is absolutely terrible, but it is a fact.
No.
And he's going to get a big contract from somebody, and then next year, 6 weeks into next year, it's going to be like, oh boy, we're having a conversation again, because it's like, hey, remember when you thought Nick Foles was better than Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is like competing at an MVP level, and Nick Foles is getting benched for like Cody Kessler on fucking the Jacksonville Jaguars?
All right, enough of that. Listen to me now, hear me later. We're going to have another discussion as soon as he goes to a team, and we're going to put over-unders. We're going to make all sorts of fucking side bets about Nick Foles, and then we can fucking keep track of it. For sure we're doing that, because I might get a Foles jersey, depending on, as long as he doesn't end up in the AFC North, probably getting a Foles jersey, and might hang it back here. But
dude, he might end up in the AFC North, maybe on Cincinnati. Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm so on the Wentz train. I mean, I understand that injuries are a real thing, but I think like Wentz actually is like an elite skill set for a quarterback. He has everything you look for in a franchise quarterback, from intelligence to size to accuracy to arm strength to athleticism to everything. And Nick Foles has like one thing: luck.
Injuries. I hate that you say that. All injuries taken into account, you're taking Carson Wentz over Deshaun Watson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I think Deshaun Watson's going to I think he's going to be injury prone in his career too, especially with the hits that he takes. But yeah, Carson Wentz is his skill set is, there's not many NFL quarterbacks that have a comparable skill set to Carson Wentz in the NFL. And mix in the fact that he's how old? 23, 24 years old. And that's something that I would be wanting to sign up for if I'm a GM.
Yeah.
And dude, he could play the next 6 years and never get hurt, and then everyone's gonna forget about the first 2 years where he got hurt. That's exactly what happened.
But here, okay, that is probably true. But here's the other thing: that if they don't win a Super Bowl in those 6 years, yeah, people will remember the 2 years that he was hurt, because another fucking quarterback took him to the Super Bowl and then they got rid of him. So if you don't back it up, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, if he doesn't, then that they will always remember that. That is the only thing they'll remember about it, is that remember when we traded away our Super Bowl MVP when he was still in his 20s?
Except they wouldn't have been, if Nick Foles would have started that whole year, they wouldn't have even made the playoffs.
That is,
and they were in position. They were in position. They were in position to be whatever, were they the 1 seed or 2 seed or whatever they were? I think they were the 1 seed maybe last year.
Yeah, that is a complete guess and estimation. By
no, that's an educated guess. I mean, it's an educated guess based on facts that I know are true, and that's that Nick Foles is awful.
You just hate Nick Foles so much. I think just because it's like a nice story and he's like just like a great person that you can't like him.
Yeah, let's get to the real point of this story. The only thing that actually matters, and that is, if you put Nick Foles and Carson Wentz surrounded by 8 walls, octagon style, what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any chance that Nick Foles doesn't beat the shit out of him.
How?
One, because Carson Wentz is a pussy, and he is probably not ready to take that fight on because he is obsessed with God more than football. So he's probably going to be thinking of like the Jedi
Tim
way
Tebow is obsessed with God, and he could beat some ass, I think.
You think Tim Tebow would beat up Nick Foles?
I mean,
think
Nick Foles
I think
has like a ton of size, but like Nick Foles is a bigger pussy than anybody, though.
What are you basing that on? Have you met him? Did he like bang somebody in your family? Why do you hate
No,
him?
just like, have you ever like heard him talk or like seen him do anything that would make you
Dude,
think otherwise?
have you seen Carson Wentz warm up in that Jesus fish shirt every Sunday with a little quote under it? Like that
He's
dude's
just
not
like
winning
so.
any UFC
Carson Wentz is
fight.
just like so much more athletic and like strong, and I just like feel like he would beat the shit out of Nick Foles. He even could be a pussy, but like an athletic, like strong pussy is gonna beat like a shitty like immobile pussy. You know what I mean?
What kind of descriptor is shitty? If Joe Rogan was doing the UFC fucking fight night and they were like, "Oh yeah, we got this guy and he's coming in and yeah, he's got long arms, he's real shitty. He also is good at the submission, but he's real shitty though." That's
No, but
not
he
an
wouldn't say
analogy.
that because they're not shitty. But Foles would be like if Joe Rogan was calling a Nick Foles fight, he would have to say that because there's not a better descripting word, you know?
Dude, this is the funniest part about especially people listening that do not know you, is that if you actually saw these two people fight in real life, you would be sitting there just whispering in my ear, "Oh, dude, I hope that Ginger just gets his ass beat by this tall dork." You for sure would be rooting for Carson Wentz to get beat up if you didn't know it was Carson Wentz. Just by
Yeah.
looking at that dude, you would be like, "Oh, I hope he gets his ass kicked."
No, but I think Nick Foles looks like someone that I would want to be beat up too.
Yeah, I mean they're both gonna
Okay,
throw
go
shots.
pull up Nick Foles' combine picture next time that you're like got some time and tell me that you don't want to just like beat his ass.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. That's a long time ago, dude.
Yeah, but he like was almost honestly even maybe worse now though.
No. Now he's a Super Bowl MVP.
I
Now the
was
only
I
thing that's
was very surprised at how enormous Nick Foles is, but
yeah.
I mean Carson Wentz is very close in size, but he doesn't come off to me looking at him on a TV screen like he's 6'6", 245. You know what I mean? Like that's enormous.
You know who else
But he
doesn't?
also is like so like slow and lumbering. He's just like gonna get chopped down at the knees.
That's not true. He has two perfectly healthy knees as
Oh,
opposed to
so
Carson
hard.
Wentz.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz will just get in there and just chop those knees down, dude.
I
He's
just
so like fast and quick and like athletic.
All right, here's what we'll do. Since nobody ever fucking tweets at the show, if any single person tweets at the show, hashtag Foles versus Wentz, and you tell us who's going to win, that's going to be the decider because we're not going to be able to come to a decision between the two of us.
Yeah, and it'll just be one person that gets to decide. So
If next, yeah, exactly, and it might be 0, and if it's 0, I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of my computer like it's Carson Wentz. But if one person tweets at it, that's the answer next week. We will tell you that's the winner.
I'm for sure making another Twitter account.
Yeah, I know your burners, dude. You're not smart enough to make one up that I won't figure out.
I'm gonna make so many Twitter accounts, and we're gonna be flooded with Carson Wentz tweets.
It'll be your little profile picture will be just a picture of him hugging Jesus. That's your
it'll just be the
avatar.
egg. Do you remember the egg on Twitter? I don't think that exists anymore. Does it?
No,
or does everyone just have a picture now?
No, if you don't have a picture.
I haven't seen the egg in like 2 years.
Yeah, people are obsessed with themselves, dude. When you give someone the option, show an egg or show my face, they're like, show my butthole.
That egg was so dope.
Yeah, it was real sweet. Anything else you want to get into?
We're done with your love affair for Nick Foles?
I'm just saying, we're not going to come to an agreement like rational people who would see Nick Foles beating the shit out of Carson Wentz.
All right, we'll table it. We'll table it. We'll let the people decide. Let the people decide. Give us your tweets.
Yeah.
Okay, so at Ahole Pod.
Tweet at
Ahole Pod.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually do want to get into this little Kyler Murray discussion because I think that there's a lot of angles that I'm interested in here in terms of your opinion. So, first question.
It's very valued around here.
If you were Kyler Murray, which obviously you're not because look at you.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, by the way.
Good one.
What's up with those glasses, man?
Oh, they're dope, dude.
Never wear glasses on the show.
Hey, Cleveland Browns edition, too.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kyler Murray, you're him. Put yourself in Kyler Murray's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? Are you showing up to spring training for the Oakland A's this March?
I mean, not if they don't get at least close to that money that he asked for. I mean, what's the point?
He's asking for like $15 million. So you
15.
think if they don't offer him, if they can't make that happen, then you would go into the NFL draft.
I just think that he's a little fucked up because, like, not like he has anything wrong with him, but I just think like he's looking at it way twisted because he likes football much more than baseball.
He does.
The easy answer, if it's 50-50, if you don't even, like, put it this way, if you just were completely detached serial killer style and they were just job A versus job B, no one would ever play football compared to baseball.
Correct.
If you had both
options. I could not agree more.
Yeah. I mean,
however, people love football, and you can become a way bigger star in football, and that will attract a young person like Kyler Murray, the stardom, because baseball has no stars. But
so much money to be made.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
It's like
so
free
like
money,
the money to me, that $15 million that the A's would have to offer him now is shouldn't even be factored into the equation, because while yes, you'll make some more money for the first like 2 years in the NFL, but like once you make the big leagues, you're gonna surpass, from a money standpoint, you're gonna make way more money in baseball than you ever will in football.
No, but I think that's his thing, is to get him to not take to go into the league. They got to give him at least 15, because the chances of him getting, once he's in their fucking program, like, he's just anybody else. He's just a name on a sheet. It's not like they have to make Kyler Murray promoted to the A's eventually, because if not, they're gonna have wasted money. Like,
right, but he's pretty damn good. He got picked number 9 overall.
No, I'm aware. Like, I'm just saying, if it doesn't pan out, like, they've already, like, it's like when you see those deals for foreign players, like in Japan and shit, where you have to like make a bid to get them. Like, that's essentially like them having the right to see if he's going to become a star, and that's the only time he's going to make the big payday. In the NFL, he's going to get paid regardless. Twice. He's going to get paid on his rookie contract. Not great, but then,
which is like $15 million guaranteed. That's like what he's looking for.
Exactly. And then realistically, you're going to probably get a second contract. Even if it's 2 years, $8 million a year, you get like a Tyrod Taylor deal, $10 million. You're going to get some sort of deal when you're fucking 26 and as long as you're not the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Unless you become like a superstar, though, that's like where the money stops for him, though, in the NFL. And even if you don't become a superstar in baseball, you could have a way longer career, and all that money's guaranteed. The money's not guaranteed in the NFL. And like, you're going to make, if you believe in yourself as a baseball player, which I'm sure he is very, very good. I've never seen him play, but I'm sure he's awesome. And like, you're going to make way more money in baseball than you would in the NFL. And the ability to get hurt and be out of the NFL in like 2 years is very present. It's not, that doesn't exist in baseball.
I just don't get why. Yeah, I mean, if it were me, there's no question to be playing baseball.
And I wouldn't want to play baseball. I never played baseball in my life. I would love to play football. That's like a fun sport to play. But dude, you just have to be smart about it. Like, people are getting their heads crushed in football and then ending up like a vegetable or brain dead when they're 50 years old. Like, do you really want that? Or do you want to just play a nice, easy baseball sport where you gonna get a shitload of guaranteed money at some point in your career? And yeah, you won't be the star that you would be in football, but like, dude, the quality of life and money is a big deal.
Not to mention just the like, if everything doesn't go like to the 10th level of success for Kyler Murray, if it doesn't go all the way the best way it could in either sport, the baseball route is so much better. To just be the utility guy for the Oakland A's making millions of dollars playing every fourth game, or be the everyday right fielder for the Minnesota Twins making dickloads of money. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be scrutinized. Like, if you don't make it in the NFL and you're not one of the top 12, they're always talking about you.
Yeah, dude, like Jed Lowry. I mean, I know he like kind of had a decent year last year, but he sucks. Mm-hmm. He's been on like a million teams. Mm-hmm. Dude, he just signed a 2-year, $20 million deal, and he's like in his like later stage of his career. He's like old now. Like, dude, there's so much money in baseball, it's laughable and it's very crazy for me that, because I actually do think Kyler Murray is not going to report to spring training, and I think he's going to get drafted, and that just seems like a very irrational decision on his end. But that's what I think is going to happen.
I guess like if this is the thing though, I think I compare now, because of course we're just obsessed with him, but I compare like everybody's mentality to Baker Mayfield. Like, if he's anything like that, and I think like great athletes are, he doesn't think he's going to fail it either. So he's like, what do I want to be? Do I want to be a top 3 NFL quarterback, or do I want to be a top 3 baseball
superstar
player?
If you become a top 3 quarterback, you become. Even if you become a top 10 quarterback, you become a superstar.
Like that's the difference between you and I and people like Baker Mayfield, probably people like Kyler Murray, is we're discussing like, here's the middle. What happens on all this below it? He's thinking this is my floor is I'm a top 10 quarterback in the NFL and I'm the best outfielder in baseball. That's my floor. Maybe I'll be, win fucking MVP both every year, but like my floor is I'll be, you know what I mean? Like they don't think about, well, what if you're just an everyday ball player? Like he's not even considering the fact that he could just be the 7th batter in the A's lineup for 6 years in right field. He's thinking, if I pick baseball, how much money will I make and how big will the stardom be if I'm one of the best players in the sport?
You literally can become the best player in the sport and still like not get recognized places. I'm sure Mike Trout goes places where he doesn't get recognized.
Especially Mike Trout. And it would be the same for Murray. It's not like he's a big dude or has any really recognizable traits. But yeah, you would just, he's considering, well, my actuality is that I'll be one of the best 5 quarterbacks or best 3 quarterbacks, or I'll be one of the best players in baseball. Which life is better? He's not even considering what happens if I get hurt. What happens if I don't? If I'm not good?
But being 5'9", 185, he really should be considering that.
Yeah,
when playing quarterback in the NFL. Okay, so my next point of topic that I want to talk on Kyler Murray, which I think is interesting, is what percentage. So obviously, no one's ever been drafted in the first round of baseball and the first round of football. So what percentage would you give it that Kyler Murray will be the first to do that this year? Obviously, 100%. He's already been drafted. 100%. He gets drafted in the first round.
It's 100%. Yeah.
Okay, I do think it's slightly less than 100%, but I do think
he can't be 100%.
I do think that there's a very high likelihood that he's going to get drafted not only in the first round, but like within the first 15 picks.
Yeah, I would say like in the top 12.
And then the other piece to this puzzle that I'm more so curious, because I kind of knew that answer, was rewind 3 years ago, pre-Baker Mayfield, kind of breaking some stereotypes, and pre-Patrick Mahomes breaking the Big 12 stereotype. What are the chances he would get drafted in the first round, given his size?
I mean, obviously it's not as high, but I think once you win the Heisman, it's going to start to break some of those barriers.
Let's say he still won the Heisman. Yeah, he had the exact same year he had at Oklahoma, but it was 3 years ago. Pre-Baker Mayfield, pre-Patrick Mahomes.
There's a lot of things that work both ways. Like one thing that helps him in that scenario is there's nobody saying it's the Oklahoma offense. Like, which people are like, well, Baker Mayfield just did that. Of course Kyler Murray would do that. It's the offense. That's the way it works. But like in that scenario, it helps Kyler a little bit because nobody did that but right the year before him.
Speaking of the Oklahoma offense, this is kind of a tangent. We'll get back to it. But Jalen Hurts, who just transferred to Oklahoma, has been installed as the 3rd favorite to win the Heisman going into next year, only behind Trevor Lawrence and Tua.
That's insane. It's going to be so
It's
fun.
the craziest thing.
It's going to be so fun to watch.
Can't even throw. And yet he's installed as the 3rd Heisman just because it's just like Oklahoma quarterbacks get to win the Heisman every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. Okay, but so what do you think the chances were? It's 2015.
70% probably. I think
still that high?
Dude, the quarterback class is awful. I mean, you got to remember who's in the class.
I know,
there's nobody at 3 and 4, and there's going to be 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken.
Baker Mayfield is like 3 inches taller and 25 pounds heavier than Kyler Murray, and people were like saying that they didn't even think like he belonged in the first round, and that was like. I feel like 3 years ago, the scene was so different that I honestly think the chances he would have gotten drafted in the first round are like 15%. I think they were so low.
Dude, here's the perfect example. And this, I think, is what I would use to try to discredit something that can't really be proven or discredited. I think Tim Tebow is the perfect example because you're not, no matter how many good quarterbacks there are in a draft class, which in this one there's like 1 maybe, you're not going to let the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback get drafted as like the 6th dude and fall to the 2nd round. Like, think about Tim Tebow still was a 1st round draft pick, dude. Yeah, and he is way fucking worse as a quarterback.
Where did he go though? Didn't he go like he went late in the first round?
27.
I know that. Late in the first round though.
It was like the 7th pick. But I'm just saying, I guess that's still first round. And there was way better quarterbacks in that class.
Johnny Manziel's a good example too.
Johnny Manziel's
first round. But the thing is that everybody else started passing on Johnny Manziel. It only took the dumbass Browns to make him a 1st round pick.
Yeah. Do you believe that the Cowboys wanted him though?
Maybe, but like I also think that there's a good chance Johnny Manziel, who, mind you, is way bigger than Kyler Murray, as small as Johnny Manziel is, way bigger than Kyler Murray, was very dynamic in college, won the Heisman. He could have easily fallen out of the first round if it were not for the Browns.
Mm, yeah, but again, we're talking.
I think a lot of the times, though, another thing that factors in, I think a lot of the times is people want to take these quarterbacks in the first round, just like that Lamar Jackson trade up by the Baltimore Ravens, because you get that fifth-year option.
Yeah, you get the extra year. And
so
that coupled with both of these draft classes, I don't even remember the quarterbacks that were in either of them, Manziel and especially Tebow now. But
yeah, so it was Blake Bortles in the Manziel one.
I mean,
Blake
I just know for a fact that there's at least 3 quarterbacks.
Teddy Bridgewater, Johnny Manziel. That was the top 3.
Those 3.
Well, yeah. Who was the other? What was the other class you said?
Tebow.
Oh, Tebow. That's a lot harder. That's way longer ago.
Yeah, but my point is, both of those classes had way better prospects than this class has. So that helps Kyler this year for sure. And in this scenario, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who's number 3? Is it Minshew?
Oh no, there's some decent players.
They are saying that the
dude from Duke,
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, and then Drew Lock from Missouri, Will Grier from West Virginia. I think there's not like studs in this class, but like there's good enough prospects that like a few of them are going to go in the first round, a couple more will go in the second round, and like there could be some good guys that come out of this class.
Yeah. No, I mean, and they come out of nowhere anyway.
And like I don't believe in Haskins at all.
I'm not a big fan.
So like, and he's like the hands down best quarterback. So like overall, this class is definitely bad. That's what everyone's saying. But there's like 5 guys that if we didn't have Baker Mayfield, I would be like able to convince myself to like get a little excited for.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. I'm just gonna skip that you said that because that's like a nightmare I don't want to have. But all those quarterbacks you just listed are all in the Senior Bowl. And I saw somebody said since they've been doing the Senior Bowl, this is the best group of quarterbacks they've had. Now, obviously, that means like those guys are all middle range because the best players don't go to the Senior Bowl. But he's saying like as far as people participating, this is the best group of quarterbacks that have ever been there.
I mean, usually the best players that come out are juniors. So
so
you kind of have schmucks. And
I mean, if you're a good quarterback, you're not playing in that anyways.
Yeah, if you're really good.
Yeah.
Like if you know you're going to be like a top 10 pick, you're not playing in it. But but all those guys should play in it because they want to impress the coach and they want to move up in the draft. So they gotta somebody's got to get taken early as a quarterback. And as a Browns fan, I hope as many of them go in the first 16 picks as possible. I hope there's at least 3 that go in the first 16 picks because that's just butter fall into the Browns, you know.
How many before we wrap up here, and we'll talk way more in depth about the draft, but before the Browns pick at 17, so those first 16 picks, how many do you think will be defensive players?
Okay, so I do think there's going to be at least 2 quarterbacks. There will be probably a receiver. There'll probably be 2 offensive linemen. So that's only like 5 people. So like 12. Probably 11 or 12 defensive players.
I think it's going to be 11 or 12. That's 12 was what I was going to say. But when you say it out loud, I think the offensive lineman I probably didn't consider too much. But yeah, I think there's going to be like 11 or 12 defensive players, and most of them are going to be D tackles and linebackers.
Yeah, a lot of them are going to be D linemen.
Front 7. Yeah, we're going to be in on that game.
Yeah, there will be a corner or 2 that go as well. But yeah, dude, but it's awesome because like there's legit like 15 D linemen that I want, so they could literally just run all 15, and I'm still, you know what I mean?
Some teams have multiple players I want. Like there's 2 on Clemson's team I would take. There's 2 on Michigan's defensive line.
I think there's 3 on Clemson's D line that I would take.
Well, and 3 in Michigan's front 7. I would take Gary Winovich or Devin Bush. I mean, there's like
Winovich in the first round. Or are you talking about just like at some point?
Yeah, I mean,
at some point I would take Winovich, but he's like going in like he's probably going to go in like the 3rd or 4th round.
I think someone will take him in the 2nd. High motor. That's draft talk, buddy. High motor.
Yeah, so I've seen him being projected in like the 4th, but I think he's good enough that he'll go like in the 3rd probably. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it's like just so stacked. I'm so jacked because it sets up so nicely for the Browns because they need front 7 help on defense and they just need defensive help in general. And it's such a good class. And it's a bad class for quarterback, and we just got ours. We locked him in. You know, it's just like the timing is perfect. When we needed a quarterback, we had a great quarterback class. When we needed defensive tackle or defensive line or linebackers, we got great class. So it's good times.
It works.
It's awesome,
yeah.
Man.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Well, that about wraps it up. I heard the little ding bell.
The casserole is done.
Prepped, cooked, ready to roll. Make sure to follow the pod on Twitter at Ahole Pod, at Potty Piper, at Jesse the Potty. Make sure to vote. Nick Foles versus Wentz in the Octagon. Nick Foles for president. That's all I got. We out.
Hey, make sure you subscribe and follow us. Subscribe, follow us. We are people that need instant gratification from our viewers. So we need that confidence boost. We're very lacking in it.
I'm glad that you said that at the very end when nobody's listening. So that's
dude,
good.
People have stopped listening so long ago. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, those of you few that stuck around, you're the real angels out there. Peace.